Hello, it's John Moore again from ET Works. Um, really running a second second part of a demo. Um, Customers often ask me when I'm doing a demo of the scale computing clusters to simulate a failure and show what happens. Um, if you missed my earlier video, please go check it out. But effectively, you join us now, as you can see on screen, with a failed node. Here it is up here, showing us offline, and some of the warnings that have done that. The two VMs, Mike and John, that you can see here set at the end, were actually running on 121 before it failed, and after it had completed the checks, it failed that over to the remaining hosts. So what I thought I'd do is just kind of show that fail back really. I'm just going to start the clock and return power to the node. Effectively, what I did was just rip the power out of the back of the node. So that's plugged in and it's spinning up now. You can't hear it because we're using the HE151 Intel Enterprise NUCs, kind of an edge cluster. And although it's sat right next to my microphone, these are practically silent in operation. Um, in terms of power, it's worth saying at peak, I think they use about 57 watts. In comparison to a normal 1U enterprise server, probably using about half the power for the cluster as opposed to one server, which of course means in that edge location you can get away with smaller UPSs and better runtime. So what's happened is the power's back in, the machine's spinning up. What it's going to do is contact the cluster and tell the cluster it's back. And while it does that, there'll be a bunch of other operations happening to make sure that it's safe to rejoin. So you can see now we've got an information message telling us that it's rejoining the cluster. And so 121 is this node that we turned off. It's worth saying all of this is happening lights out. I'm not doing anything other than plugging the power back in. I'm not doing anything in the background. This is all under the standard operation of the cluster. So this can happen completely lights out in your remote location, and you not have to be sending IT people to rush around and sort that out. Um, I'd also say these kind of blue information messages. You can see I have some alerts up here. Um, the alert in this case is the fact that I haven't configured the alerts to go to my inbox either, because I didn't want to flood my inbox this morning telling me that I was pulling the power out of the cluster. Um, so now it's telling us that it's going to try and migrate back the virtual machines back to that node once it's joined. And in a second, you should see it pop back online um, in in the console. So it's worth saying, also looking at the dashboard at the top here. Um, at the moment, obviously we're running at quite a high RAM utilization, but that's because we failed back to two nodes, and so we expect that to drop as soon as the new node comes on. These are identical hosts. They're all HE151s with 4 cores of CPU, 32 gig of RAM, and 2 TB all NVMe. Um, you can see the node has now come online, so I can see it's back up. And what's going to try and do now is migrate those VMs back. Um, it's worth pointing out. So we're now. It took about 3 minutes for the VMs to move across and fail over when we did it the other way around. Um, and it normally takes up to about 5 minutes on a failback, and the reason behind that is we need to make sure that um, we're doing all those cluster checks in the background. What you don't want to do is start moving a VM back before all that replication's finished, or if there's a risk of that node going down again. And you'll remember from the earlier video, any data changes that are happening on these VMs are also being moved over to the other nodes. So we're not going to lose any data should we pull out the power. So you can see now John's moved across, no downtime. That's happening with memory. You'll see the memory utilization is running quite high, and that's because effectively we're kind of running the VM while also running up the memory utilization on the other host. And so that's now Mike moved across as well. So yeah, in pretty much under 5 minutes, we've added the node back, and that's come from a failed state where we pulled the power out. It's fixed itself, rejoined the cluster. The cluster's checked that it's okay, and then moved the two VMs that had failed over to the remaining nodes back onto its original node, which is considered to be its preference node. I've not done anything. This is all automatic, and there's no special configuration out of the box. It does this automatically. If you'd like to know more, just give us a shout. We also have this demo cluster which we're able to come and install on site for you, so you can use it on your network with your data. Thanks a lot.